Good morning. Welcome to Hindu Newspaper Analysis 1st December 2022. Today is 1st December. The first is the best. Whatever way you are preparing for the exam, in this month, from the first day of the December month should enhance. I hope you will rise your preparation confidence and even capacity and content. Today is also Old Age Day. The day began to bring awareness over the AIDS, and it is also a day to pay homage to the patients who lost their lives because of AIDS. In India, the situation is quite better. However, we are long way to go because Indian data regarding AIDS mentioning that in and around 24 million people are suffering with AIDS in India, and even recently we witnessed a shortage of goods, that is medicines, in the healthcare centers regarding HIV treatment. India had a long way to go. Let us wait and watch for the next developments, and this year the theme is Rock the Ribbon. This is the theme of 2022 AIDS Day Awareness Campaign. First article, GDP growth dips to 6.3 as manufacturing slides. This article explains that our GDP is growing well, however, it is recovering well, however, it is not reaching the expected results because slowness in the manufacturing sector. There are multiple challenges in this aspect. Before that, GDP, you are well aware that includes the total value of goods and services produced by a country in a time period. And GDP in India is calculated by Central Statistical Office. And here I would like to tell you, India's GDP depended mostly on the consumption. Apart from that, private investment is also one of the critical player in the GDP enhancement. Unfortunately, private companies are not interested in expansion of manufacturing in India. There are several challenges. One is low demand, and then low capital, gross fixed capital formation. So this gross fixed capital formation talks about rise in unit of assets, that is very low, and that is a major reasons for the slowness in the manufacturing sector. Next article, parents anxious as ganja sales resurface their schools. This is an interesting article because a small district in that small village in West Godavari of Andhra Pradesh witnessed ganja in schools. So they found ganja in schools, which is very problematic because generally we believe that normally these are urban centers or metropolitan centers are the hub of having ganja, but unfortunately now ganja even reached the villages also. It raises concerns over the security, concerns over the health of the people. Now parents generally will have anxiety about this kind of developments. Let us hope government and police people will take necessary actions to eradicate this problem. Next article talks about unseemly conflict. This is about government diatribe does not resolve conflict over judicial appointments. Here we need to understand one simple important thing. That is, yesterday I discussed that Supreme Court, the background of NJSC, that is National Judicial Appointment Commission, in which 99th Amendment was struck down by Supreme Court as a violation of basic structure. Then we also witnessed that recently in a meeting, Law Minister said collision is alien to the Constitution. So we need to understand that these developments are not happy for the democracy itself, because these events creating a silent tussle between executive and judiciary, because these two institutions are very important in any democracy. That's the reason others suggested that a particular coordination, and there should be a hand-holding support between the two organs of the government. Then only it can deliver the justice, democracy, and the values of constitutional morality. For that, others suggested that government should move to hurry up the recommendations of collegium judges. Then there is a process of reformation in the collegium function is also needed from the Supreme Court side. So that is how both can work in coordinated manner. Next article, Party Congress over understand the China puzzle. So this article is highlighting about recent developments in China. At the same time, how Xi Jinping reappeared into the politics. He became, not reappeared, he consolidated his position, and even he working in production of Chinese ideological fight against the other countries. So this article talks about more or less about China. What is important for us is, other highlighted that China versus USA is going ahead in the world. At the same time, USA expanding its alliances against China, namely Quad, IP, EF, Indo-Pacific Economic Framework, Partnership, so on and so forth. That's the reason India and even other countries has to balance the relations between China and even USA. Other highlighted about recent ASEAN summit and G20 summit, and all these things are somewhat rising concerns about Chinese presence and Chinese aggressions in the South China Sea. If you see last week ASEAN summit, we also discussed that last week ASEAN summit, our ASEAN Defense Minister Summit, our Defense Minister said that rule of law and following international order is need of the hour in the ASEAN Defense Summit. So you need to understand that there are rising concerns over Chinese behavior, and they are also strengthening their alliances to counter China. Next article, an Indian recipe to quell micronutrient malnutrition. So this article highlights about some serious concerns about India's malnutrition program. For example, National Family Health Survey stated that every second woman in India is anemic, that is having less iron in their body. Then every third children is stunted and malnutrition, and every fifth children is wasted. So here, what is this concept is about? Stunting. See, stunting is very serious issue, because according to WHO, stunting results from chronic undernutrition and which retards the linear growth, which means stunting, in more or less we can say low height for age, it will have serious impacts on the cognition, whereas wasting is inadequate nutrition over a short period. So here wasting mentioned that it is a person who has a low weight for height. So that is what wasting about. So here in India, every fifth children is wasted, and even every third child is stunted. And recent reports from FAO in the name of Food Security Report 2021, which mentioned that India is 101 out of 116 countries. Similarly, in the Global Hunger Index 2021, India with 15.3% undernourished people, and it has become the world stunting capital with 30% and wasting around 17.3%. This data are quite useful in writing answers, but don't stress too much to remember. Now, from 1920s onwards, most of the developed countries and even developing countries, they provided specific strategies to counter the stunting and malnutrition. And even India did a lot of things. For example, fortification of food. So you can ask me, what is fortification of food? Fortification is of food means process of adding nutrients to food. For instance, rice, wheat fortified with zinc, iron, and vitamin B, and some iodine, so on and so forth. So this is how fortification will be done. Last 2 weeks back, in Andhra Pradesh, FCI manager conducted a press conference and said people are having doubts over fortified rice, and he explained fortified rice is nothing but to enhance the vitamins and minerals also. So here is the article talking about that fortified rice benefits. They gave an example of Gadchiroli district in Maharashtra, in which PDS supplied fortified rice and which also supplied through ICDS and even Poshan Abhiyan. What is the result? The result is rise in the nutrition levels of the people. Similarly, in Gujarat, in midday meal school scheme also they provided it. What is the result? It improved the nutrition levels. So this is how we can tell that the need is very good, very high. Food fortification is one of the most cost effective and very interesting and very useful nutrition strategy. Next article talks about towards a robust triumvirate. Try to understand. Triumvirate means a Greek word which says that rule of three. So here, author is a former chief election commissioner, and he explained a beautiful, interesting story here. That is, last week throughout the newspaper analysis, one issue was very dominated. The issue was election commissioner appointment of Arun Goyal, which created a lot of buzz over different things. So now, author explains about different reforms needed for the electoral process and election commission. This article explains beautifully about how election commissioner should be appointed and its process should go. It went on to say a collegium system was recommended by Dinesh Goswami committee in the year 1996. So Dinesh Goswami committee recommended a collegium of president or executive, CJI, leader of opposition, or in case of absence of leader of opposition, largest opposition party can recommend the election commissioners. However, in case of any difficulties, this process can be changed. That's the reason Dinesh Goswami committee asked legal protection for this kind of appointments. Next, National Commission to Review Working of Constitution, that is NM Venkatachalai Commission, recommended that there should be a 3-people committee, a 3-members committee like PM, Lok Sabha, leader of opposition, and it also talks about Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha speakers, that is speakers in the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha deputy chairman. So this is how it recommended the appointment. So National Commission to Review a Working Constitution, it recommended that there should be an election commissioner appointment, and this appointment should be based on the Prime Minister, leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and also Lok Sabha and deputy chairman of Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha speaker and deputy chairman of Rajya Sabha should be there. 255th report of Law Commission, chaired by Justice A.P. Shah, recommended that the appointment should be done by the president, and the president should get the recommendations from a collegium with Prime Minister, leader of opposition in Lok Sabha and CJI. And it recommended that safeguards up to the election commissioners should be similar with the Election Commission of India. That is, Election Commission of India is a constitutional body, and he can be removed only based on the impeachment process or process of removal of judges. So here the other side said that similar kind of security and protection and independence should be given to the election commissioners, so that the efficiency and the effectiveness of the election commissioner and their works can be raised. Next article talks about 16 drones shot down along Pak border this year. So yesterday we came to know that a drone carrying almost a few kgs of narcotics was shot down by women BSF people, women BSF army. So similar to that, today we have this around 16 drones were blasted this year. So this is a signal that terrorists are way ahead to use drones or artificial intelligence or any other technology before the security forces itself. So BSF DG Pankaj Kumar Singh mentioned in a press report that all these things it was raised. Apart from that, it is also important that drones, apart from the security purpose, they are also misused for the narcotic supply, a thing which we have to remember. Next, Jamaat Ulema-i-Hind seeks SC status for Dalit Muslims. So this is an important issue, that we have the issue regarding Dalit Muslims and Dalit Christians. These are the people who are converted into different religion from SCs to STs. What is important is, according to Department of Personal and Grievance Redressal, they mentioned that STs doesn't have any religion basis. They will get their reservations and their provisions irrespective of religion, whereas SCs will have the consideration. For example, this Dalit Christians, Dalit Muslims may not get the benefits of SCs. So that is what going on in the Supreme Court. Let us wait and watch for the next developments. Next article, that is India's G20 agenda will be inclusive, ambitious, action-oriented. So we are assuming a G20 presidency very soon. So on that ground, we are having an article mentioned about the G20 priorities, and here it was mentioned that India's G20 goal or motto is One Earth, One Family, One Future, which is based on our basic Vedic quotation, that is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. And it want to assume that India should involve in tackling the challenges like climate change, terrorism and pandemics. So all the countries should work together in this regarding. At the same time, India is also considered to be mother of democracy, and here it is also important that Indians have a tradition of decision making collectively. So with that traditional notion, India will coordinate with other countries in tackling these challenges. That's an important development, that India is working in giving value for human, animal, plant, microorganisms and their interconnectedness on the planet. So what is further important for us is, India is opening its G20 inaugurations, and it want to lit up G20 logo on India's most favorite 100 monuments. Apart from that, they also want to provide first Sherpa meeting in the Udaipur, Rajasthan. So this is the welcome step. Let us wait and watch for the next developments. Next article, Supreme Court worried over effect of GM crops on livelihood of women farm laborers. So this article talks that GM crops may affect the rural women, because rural women are experts on removing weeds and they are part of labor force in agriculture. Unfortunately, if these jobs are considered to be lost because of GM crops. So this is what the observation of Supreme Court in the issue of GM crops. It is also observed that Supreme Court, a lawyer who argued the matter against the issue, said that Department of Biotechnology had funded this GM mustard, which is a crop expected to rise the yield in the field. So Dhara mustard hybrid 11, that is DMH11, was clearly funded by Department of Biotechnology, and it raised some environmental concerns. However, it was cleared by the GEAC, Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee, apex body of approval. Further, it also mentioned that Supreme Court Technical Expert Committee reported a call for the ban of GM mustard. Parliamentary Standing Committee also raised concerns over GM mustard. However, this was passed. So now we have to understand that this GM crop is going to affect the livelihood of women farmer laborers, which is a point we can write in our answers against the GM crop issues. Supreme Court seeks central response on evolving program to protect Great Indian Bustard. You know that in 1970s we have Project Tiger. Similar to that, we do have an idea of Project Great Indian Bustard launched by the then CM Ashok Gehlot in 2013. Now we have to understand that this is a great opportunity to conserve the Great Indian Bustard. The Great Indian Bustard, it was brought under the Schedule 1 of Wildlife Protection Act 1972, but still it doesn't get proper attention. It is still under below protection line BPL, and there is huge decline in the population also. So the main goal under this Project Great Indian Bustard is raising the conservation of habitat, that is grasslands, and also reducing the human interference into the life or habitat of get in busted. So this is what Supreme Court is asking. Supreme Court asking that need a huge response to the government in chart out a similar project like Project Tiger. An interesting report from the World Bank mentioned that 160 to 200 million Indians could be exposed to heat waves annually. World Bank report can be written in our answer writing point of view. Very useful and even important for our GS point of view also. How India affected by climate change, we can write this point. This report highlighted the, this report appreciated the initiative of New Delhi government. New Delhi's India's Cooling Action Plan, that is ICAP 2019, focused about new investments in three sectors: building construction, cold chains and refrigerants. So this is what the need of the hour: adopting climate responsive cooling technologies in the government and the private field is one way to counter this. Apart from that, people who are unable to develop their own homes can be developed Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana to tackle the heat waves. So this is the article talks about. This is the important things that is article talks about. So in a summarized manner, I can tell you that from 2030, 160 million to 200 billions can be exposed to heat waves in India every year. So nearly 34 millions Indians will lose their jobs due to heat stress, and it is going to decline the productivity also. So this is what we can learn from this article. Last article talks about are ransomware attacks increasing in India. So this is very important one. In the point of cybersecurity, All India Institute of Medical Sciences from last few days unable to open their computer softwares, and they are unable to forward anything in the online because the single issue is they were affected by ransomware, and the hackers demanding some certain crores for the release of the sites. So this means that All India Institute of Medical Sciences is unable to counter the cyber attacks. So what India is doing exactly, India do have a separate mechanism under the CERT-EN. In 2004, we established the Indian Computer Emergency Response Team, CERT-IEN, which collects the data and which collects the information regarding cyber attacks. Unfortunately, India unable to counter these attacks. Apart from that, we do have National Cyber Security Coordinator under the National Security Council Secretariat, which will coordinate among the different agencies. At the same time, we do have National Critical Information Infrastructure Protection Center, which aims to protect the national critical information infrastructure. Later, last year, we do found Cyber Swachhata Kendras for cleaning up the systems and to protect from the hacking and malware. And last year, we also have I4C. I4C stands for Indian Cybercrime Coordination Center. So all these steps are very important. However, still India should rise more prevention methods of cybersecurity. That's all for today. Thank you so much and Jai Hind.